Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Shilpa Data Insights. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we will be discussing one more interview question which is really famous and is asked in most of the MNC company. And I have curated a lot of interview questions already which you might be aware and you have already watched it. But if you have not watched those questions, I will pin the playlist in the I button. You can go ahead and watch the complete PySpark playlist and you can practice those questions. This question is not only asked in a lot of MNC company, but big product-based companies as well. It's a very fundamental question, but you need to be very much aware of how to solve it. And this was asked in Accenture as well as other companies. Now, the question arises, this question was asked in PySpark as well as SQL, and therefore it is a very famous question. I have already solved this question in PySpark in my previous video. If you have not watched it, I will pin that in the I button as well. You can watch that particular video. Today, I will be solving this question in SQL. So you really need to be aware of how to solve the question in both PySpark and SQL. This will really help you have a understanding of both the languages, because in projects it could be that they may be writing a code in SQL or they may be writing a code in PySpark. For example, in my last organization, everything was written in PySpark, but in my last organization everything was written in SQL. So there is always a preference and pros and cons of writing something in PySpark and SQL. So you should be aware of how to write something in both the languages. So without any delay, let's get started with today's question that has been asked in Accenture, and we'll be solving this question in SQL today. You can also practice it in PySpark. So I'll pin that in the I button. So let's get started. Okay, so my notebook is ready and it's connected to my serverless cluster. And here, if I see, this is my data set. Let's read out the question, what exactly the question is all about. We have to find the employees who earn more than average salary across the company, but less than the highest salary of the department. So if we see, there are key pointers in this question. Just remember those key pointers before solving any question. Whenever you get a question, you get a lot of hint itself in the question, what exactly to do and how exactly to solve it. So for example, in this particular question, you see it says you have to calculate the average salary, and then you have to also calculate the highest salary of each department, and then you need to filter out the employees who earn more than the average salary and also less than the highest salary. So there are two conditions that needs to be fulfilled in order to achieve this result. So if there are two conditions that needs to be fulfilled, then we need to use an AND operator, right? If there are one condition that needs to be fulfilled, then you need to use an OR operator. So I've just given you an overview how exactly to approach the question. So let's get started with the question and see the data set properly, and then go ahead with the question basically. So now in this data set, I have written it in PySpark so that I can use this into my SQL itself. So if I run this particular code, I will see my data set. The data set has different employee names. It has three departments. One is IT, second is HR, third is finance, and there are different salaries, right? Now you see the highest salary for IT department is 1.2, for HR it is 90,000, and for finance it's 1.5, right? So now we have two things. One, we need to calculate the average salary of the company and the highest salary for each department, right? So let's first convert this particular data frame into a SQL temp table in Databricks, and then you can go ahead and solve it. If you want, you can create a complete table itself instead of a view, and then you can also solve this question. Now, select star from employee. It has already populated my data in my temp view, so I can go ahead and solve this. Now, what I will do is I will calculate first is my average salary. So how you calculate the average salary? You do a select average of the salary from the employee table. This is my average salary, right, of the all the employees. So what is my average salary? It will be one record itself, right? It's calculating the average salary of all the records. That is 95,000. Now let me calculate the maximum salary of each employee, each department, right? So what I will do is I'll calculate the maximum salary and I will get my department and from employee, but I have to group it by the department and then I will get my result. So I don't want to order it, it's populating it as an AI thing. So now the department is IT, the maximum is 1.2, for HR it is 90, and for finance it's 1.5. So this is my data for maximum salary. Now we need to think of filtering out the data so that we go ahead and get only the salaries which are more than average but less than maximum salary. Now what I will do is I have written this statement in two different statements in two different cells to show you that this particular code is working perfectly. Now I have to collate everything and actually give the result. So what I will do is I will use this statement. I'll create a CTE. Okay. So what I will write is, if you know how to create a CTE, it is like this with average salary as, and I'll select this. I'll create another CTE, let's say max salary as another CTE, that is this. Okay. Now let's say I want to go ahead and select, I want to join these two data frames, right, with my original data frame to actually get my actual result. So I will do a select, let's say star, and then from my employee table, and then I will join my average salary, and then join my maximum salary also with the department. Okay, so this is what I will be doing. So let me execute this just to make sure no syntactical error and show you the result. So now you see we have employee ID, employee name, department, and salary, average salary, and then we have maximum salary, and then we have again a department. Now if you think about, we have a joining condition here, but we have not given any joining condition. Why? It is because we had only one row for average salary. If you will see, what is that? This is 95, right? So this is my average salary. Even if you don't give any joining condition, it's going to join each row with each row of the second table. Or you can do on 1 equal to 1. This will also work, right? If you want to give a on operator and you want to join it 101. So it's 1-to-1 mapping basically. Now you have the result data set, but if you see, there are a lot of columns and a lot of things you need to filter out the data which have the maximum salary, less than maximum salary, but more than average salary. Now what you need to do is you just need to filter out the records. Now where my employee salary, it says equal to, but where my employee salary is less than my maximum salary, there is one caveat here. So for example, if I do this, it's going to give me an error. Let me show you that. It should give me an error. So it says cannot resolve maximum salary dot max on this, but it's also giving me an option to do it, but this is not wrong. I'll reject it. Why exactly it's giving me the error is because this is the maximum salary inside the CT and this is a computed column, right? So what we need to do is we need to give this alias. So this is my company salary. Now let me give this an alias here as well as max salary of each department. Okay, so now what I will do is, instead of this computed column, from the max salary, that is this particular CTE, I will be getting my max salary department. Okay, So this is what I need to have. And I also need the employee salary should also be greater than my average salary. So what is my average salary? It's company salary, right? So even if I don't use the table, that is fine. It is going to should give me a result. So now you see it has given me the employee ID, name, department, salary, company salary, maximum salary, and department. Now if you see, the salary is less than my maximum salary, but is also greater than my company salary. So this is my output. If you want to select some particular columns, so what you can do is you can do select, and then you can select the columns that you need. For example, you need these columns that I'm typing, right? So you need only these columns. It should go ahead and give me the result. So in department, you need to mention from which table you. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you have a good day.